And it's time to get down the road, man. Shout out to each and every one of y'all for tapping in. I appreciate the support. We talking about pros and cons today, man, of being in this thing that we call food service. But before I get into that, I want to address a comment that I received this morning on another video. It was a video that I made several months ago. I can't remember what the title of the video was that I made, but it was a short form video, so it was less than 60 seconds. And that video, you know, it got a lot of engagement. And basically what I was saying in the video was, look, if you're going to get your CDL, go ahead and get your Class A license if you want to have more driving job opportunities and you want the higher paying jobs. That's basically what I was saying in the grand scheme of things. That was my overall point. And I made an analogy in that video, and I said, look, you know, getting your Class B license is like going to the car dealership, getting a sports car with a V6. And I said, look, if you're gonna do it, just go ahead and do it big, right? Do it right the first time and go for the Class A. And a lot of people took offense to that. A lot of people took offense to that. And you know, most of the people that took offense to it was obviously, you know, people who held a Class B license. But, you know, I will say there were a lot of people who actually held a Class B that agreed with what I said as well. However, there was a percentage of people that, you know, disagreed with me and was like, look, you know, I know plenty of Class B drivers that make more than Class A drivers. There was also some Class A drivers that disagreed with me, and you know, and some of them were saying the same thing, like, man, you know, don't sleep on Class B drivers. You know, I know some people that make more, and I won't disagree with that. I'm pretty sure there are some Class B drivers out there doing, you know, whatever job they're doing that make more than some of the Class A drivers. Let's be honest, not every Class A driving job pays great money, or good money for that matter. So I'm sure there are some Class B jobs out there that pay more than some Class A jobs. That really wasn't, you know, my point. Again, my overall point was that if you want to have more driving job opportunities and you want a chance to be able to make, you know, some really good money in the trucking industry, getting your Class A license, in my opinion, is a better bet. Not to say you can't make good money with a Class B license, but you give yourself more opportunities to make more money with a Class A. And then when you add, you know, having your endorsements, that just takes it to a whole nother level. So again, just my opinion, just because you got a Class A license doesn't necessarily mean you're just the OTR driver driving over the road and never at home. That's not the case. You can be a Class A driver and you can be a local driver home every day, or you can be a regional driver where you're home, you know, most of the week, maybe away a couple days out of the week, 2-3 days, or what have you. But not all Class A drivers are over the road drivers. So I just want to clear that up before I get into today's topic. So with all that being said, pros and cons to food service. Now, these pros and cons are going to be, you know, my opinion when it comes to the pros and cons, and it's going to be obviously related to food service, and it's in a general sense. And so I'm going to give my pros and cons on that, and also as it relates to my route. So let's start with the cons first. The cons of being in food service, I think, you know, we got to state the obvious first, and that's being a physically demanding job. That's number one. So, you know, that would be the biggest con. As a food service delivery driver, you're working in the elements. So you have to work in the heat, right? When it's hot out, summertime, springtime. You're working in the cold during the winter months. You're working in the rain. You got to deal with the snow. So, you know, all of those things would be considered cons, in my opinion, and you know, depending on who you ask. Some of those conditions are more, you know, tolerable than others, but I think they still would be cons in a lot of people's eyes. So we gotta put that as a con. Another con would be if you work for a company that have ramps as opposed to lift gates on their trailers. Also, having to dig for cases, you know, that would definitely be another con. Yeah, so I think those are pretty much all the cons that I can think of off the top of my head. I'm pretty sure some of you guys will have some others to put in the comments, but as of right now, those are really the main ones that stick out to me. Now, let's go ahead and switch over to the pros. So the pros of food service, obviously, you know, the money. That's just the reality of it. Outside of that, for me personally, now here's a pro as it relates to my route. For me, you know, the amount of hours that I work every week, to me, is a pro. You know, I work on average about 43, 44 hours a week, and that's what I've been working all year long. So for me, that's a pro. To somebody else, that may not be a pro, right? It particularly if, you know, if you get paid hourly, straight hourly, you make your money with the overtime. So, you know, depending on who you ask, that wouldn't be a pro. But for me, you know, we get paid component pay, so it's not just straight hourly. We get paid, you know, cases, stops, mileage, all of those things factor in our pay. So it's a little bit different. My pro is my schedule, you know. Definitely a major pro for me. My schedule, my workload, my route, all of those things. Being able to drive a brand new tractor, 2023, having good equipment, all those things are pros to me. Having good management, another pro. So, you know, there's a lot of pros, definitely more pros in my situation than cons, which is why, you know, I'm still at GFS. When I look at where I'm at this year in terms of gross, and when I look at the amount of hours I made, what I'm gonna end up finishing the year with, you know, I know for a fact I couldn't go to a LTL company right now or a fuel hauling company and work 43 hours a week and make what I'm making. You know what I mean? So, and not only make what I'm making, but have holidays off, right? We get major holidays off. I did, with the exception of this year, I did work on Thanksgiving this year. But I've been with GFS, you know, 4.5 years now. This is the first Thanksgiving that I had to work. But even with me working Thanksgiving this year, I was still, you know, back at the yard at 5:30 in the morning. So that's really being off because I had the rest of the day to do whatever I wanted to do. And by me working that Thursday, it ended up giving me a 3-day weekend. So I didn't have to work on Friday when all my coworkers had to go in that Friday, right? I was off, you know, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And so, you know, I like that schedule better than having to work or having to be off Thursday and come back and work Friday and Saturday, because that's what I've had to do in the past. When Thanksgiving fall on a Thursday, typically, you know, at least at my location, we all get Thursday off, and then the route get pushed back a day, and we have to work, you know, that Saturday. So this year, it wasn't like that. I pretty much prefer it to be like it was this year, at least for me and my schedule. I'd rather work, you know, Monday through Thursday and then be off Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So we'll see if that holds up, you know, in the future. Let me say this too. Let me be clear. There's nothing wrong with working 50 plus hours a week if you know, because at the end of the day, most of these jobs pay hourly, so you obviously get that overtime pay, which translate into more money. So I get that aspect. I don't want to make it sound like working, 50 plus hours a week is bad. Now, I mean, if you're working 70 hours a week, I don't know about that though. To each his own. I think there's a point to where it's like, it's too much. So yeah, man, those are my pros and cons when it comes to food service delivery. If you talk to some other food service drivers out there, I'm pretty sure their pros and cons may be a little similar. And they may have a few extra cons to add on to mine. So it just is what it is. And we all know there are other places you can go, other trucking jobs that you can do to make just as much as food service drivers, if not more in some cases. But we're not talking about the other jobs right now. We focusing on food service. So there it is, man. That's the good, bad, and the ugly. Y'all let me know what you think. Drop it in the comments. Until the next video, I'll catch you guys on the next one. Y'all be easy, man. Have a good one.